Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome into the Friday edition of the Coaching Company podcast. We have this podcast 4 to 5 days a week. The easiest way to digest it is turn on your notifications, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can listen to the audio if you're driving around in your car, courtesy of our partnership with Believe. Now, if you're listening to this live right now, my favorite event ever in sports is the Ryder Cup. And there's been so much hype, there's been so much attention given to Team USA and the fact that Bethpage Black was going to be their golf course. Well, as we're watching this live right now, Europe pounded the first three matches. And the fourth one is on the course. Xander and Patrick at one point were 2 up. They're now even playing the 16th hole. So there's a chance that USA could get blanked in the first session, and this is a disaster when you're talking about the Ryder Cup. There hasn't been an away team win a Ryder Cup since, I believe, 2012. And Rory McIlroy, a couple of years ago, when they won, he said, "We're going to go to New York and we're going to win," and then pounded the table. Well, today he pounded Colin Morikawa and Harris English. I think 5-4 or 4-3, something like that. But he teaming up with Tommy Fleetwood, your current FedEx Cup champion, who the last month of August was the hottest player on the planet. That continued today. 4 balls coming up this afternoon. I'll be locked and loaded to that. All right, we got a busy weekend. I want to bring in my boy, Mikey P from Shirt Dog USA. And Mikey, we're going to get into all the college games tomorrow on our Saturday morning show, which is always on demand. We post it around 10 a.m. Eastern time. But I wanted to talk here about how certain weeks of the year are more important than others, specifically in college football. Because this weekend, we have a top 10 matchup in the Big Ten. We've got a major matchup between Alabama and Georgia. You've got LSU number 4 against Ole Miss number 13, so top 15. When there's so many good games on one weekend, how do you decipher if you're a voter, if you're a person who is in that business, about who's more important, who's better, all of that kind of stuff? How do you look at it?
I think it comes down to one word and one word only. If you're a voter, if you're looking at all this and you say finally, as in finally these two teams are being tested, finally we have a Big Ten game worth watching, you're probably behind the 8 ball here, because these games, and honestly, finally to us as viewers and spectators, because this is finally what we've been asking for. Stop with these Alabama against Alabama Tech, SNU. Like, I'm so done with these matchups that take us all the way until late October, early November. So finally, we are getting the matchups earlier than normal. And finally, we're seeing these teams being tested early and often. So for me, if you have to sit back on a Saturday afternoon and say, oh, finally, I'll tell you one that you may hear on Saturday morning. If you're looking at Illinois and USC, you can't say the word finally. They've both had Big Ten matchups. Illinois got blown out by Indiana. So you can't say, oh, Illinois finally got a test. No, they've already been tested. You can't say that about LSU coming off of Southeast Louisiana. So I think it comes down to how much have you put in early in the season?
I was thinking about the playoffs, and there was so much chatter in the offseason about expanding it to 16 or 32 or whatever the number is going to be. And as much as I would love that, there are now a situation that if we go there, then games like Oregon and Penn State don't mean as much, other than, well, we're going to get a double bye or we're going to get home field, those types of advantages. But to me, I still think that, as I'm watching Xander throw a dart out there, I still think that there's still value in these big games outside of just watching an exciting game. Georgia and Tennessee, the way Georgia won that game, we're going to remember that. So when we get down to it, are they going to get one of the 4 byes now? To me, that's how important this weekend is. When these teams are preparing, they're not talking about December and January. I get that. But they've got to be feeling a little bit of the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of those things where, for me, we need to have a collection of wins and worthy opponents throughout this season. With that college football playoff now being in place, we always want, we want more. We want more teams. We want more opportunity. What you get with more teams and more opportunity is more proving points, is
Mm-hmm.
more standards being set throughout college football. So for me, as much as people think, we're inviting 12 teams, let's invite 16, the more the merrier. No, the more emphasis you have on week 4 or week 5 or week 0 or week half, whatever we're going to do next year when we expand or if they expand in college football, this is the way it should have been done for a very long time. Coach, I just saw a highlight recently, and it said BCS College Championship, and I go, man, I was just a young pup when when a computer was telling me who should be playing in the college.
And it was two teams. It was two teams, and everything else didn't matter. And then we can't go back to the nonsense that we saw the last couple of years. They're moving the portal, and it's amazing to me for people who are in high decision making positions how dumb some of those decisions are. The portal, it's a very easy decision, but yet they move this thing around, but it still doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, guys, it's easy. They're like, well, but then this would happen. No, it wouldn't. You guys control the situation. To me, you take the portal right after the national championship game and you allow kids to make their decision there. But when you have decision making leading up to the bowl games, then you have a 63-0 game with Florida State losing their entire team to the portal. That nonsense has got to stop. Right now, 2 good shots on 16 by Xander and Robert McIntyre. So both have birdie putts as they are all tied. Europe up 3-0. All right, let's flip it over to the NFL. And this is the thing that's different about the NFL than college. College, your schedule is set for years and years because of how many teams are in your conference. In the NFL, I love how the NFL does it, featured games and whatnot. We got 2 games this weekend that are absolute bangers, but the storylines behind them is what's great. The Ravens and the Chiefs, 2 of the great quarterbacks, future Hall of Famers, both 1 and 2. Their backs are against the wall. I love seeing high-level players, Mikey, have to perform to get their team back into it. Who do you think will handle the pressure a little bit better in Arrowhead this weekend in that game?
Well, first and foremost, you threw me for a loop. I thought we were talking Rams Colts. So you're talking about some of the best teams in the league. No, in all seriousness, though, how can I not sit here and say Patrick Mahomes? And it's not because I am the leader of Kiss Up Mountain, but this is a guy who has continued to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl. And when you need a big play, who shows up? Patrick Mahomes. When you need to rally the troops, who shows up? Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson is so much fun for a highlight reel. But when you need to get your team back on track, I'm going to trust 15 because he's been there. He's done that. He's beaten Joe Burrow. He's beaten Lamar. He's beaten Josh. I have to go with proven track record.
The Ravens right now, as fun as they are to watch and talk about, speaking of talking about, we've got to watch. We're going to call this in real time.
You got it.
We got to call this in real time. So Victor Hovland is going to go first. Birdie here at 16. Oh, he missed it. So now Patrick Cantley will have a putt to win the hole here at 16. To me, I think sometimes NFL fans get caught up in how exciting Lamar is instead of saying last week, hey, maybe Detroit had a better defensive game plan than the Ravens had offensive game plan. Because when you're able to corral him, and normally most of his rush yards are when he gets out of the pocket and then he's running all over the place. They sacked him 7 times. And he didn't even have time to get going because they had 2 guys on the outside. I'm wondering if the Chiefs, who also have a very good defense, if they're going to look at it and other teams will look at it and say, you know what? Let's take those 2 guys on the outside and put a lot of pressure on our inside linebackers because it worked for Detroit. Do you think that could be the right game plan for other teams as well?
It absolutely can. And I think we need to start having a conversation is what happens when you finally start to nullify Lamar Jackson's ability to run. We saw what happened to Russell Wilson. He used to be the guy who could just run around the, behind the pocket and find someone open after 19 seconds. Lamar Jackson's got, this is where that conversation that he entered the league with about becoming a quarterback really starts to show up. You're this late in your career. The Lions' third string linebacker didn't let you escape his grasp. So for the Chiefs, one of my favorite players in the league, Nick Bolton, I think he should have a huge game against Lamar and this Ravens offense. So I think once you start to really nullify and figure out how other teams are nullifying Lamar, we could really start, I don't want to say the downfall, but we could really figure out the pieces of the puzzle to slow down that highlight reel Ravens offense.
And finally, a slight preview, and we will have a full show on Sunday morning. Me and Mikey and Raphael break down all of the big games on Sunday. But the storyline gods, the football gods, are shining down on us. Because Micah Parsons was the gift that just kept on giving throughout the summer. And Jerry Jones was like, hey, we offered him the most money we'd ever lost. Well, did you really, Jerry? Did you really? And then he leaves, gets traded, and now makes $48 million, and then comes back in week 4. And the only thing I don't like about him, Mikey, is him doing his conference call with reporters. It's always weird when they show it and there's nothing. Can these teams please get something behind these players on a Wednesday call, please? At least make it look professional. But he says, oh, it's going to hurt me. It's going to be painful for me to sack my former best friend. My guy, he's a mentor. He's a brother. I'm like, wait a second. You're making 48 large. Shut it. And I think the Packers will go in. And based off of how the Cowboys looked against your Bears, I would be very, very worried that our season will go south with a loss and falling to 1-3 on Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm so sick of we have to protect everyone. Everyone's got to be best friends. When your owner trades you away, there used to be some sense of pride of, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't have traded me. And for the Dallas Cowboys, you have way more problems than just Micah Parsons returning to Dallas. You have no CeeDee Lamb. I'm sorry, I'll address the elephant in the room. You have George Pickens, the biggest head case in the NFL. He's now your go-to guy. You have Javonte Williams getting the ball ripped out of him from a mid-tier cornerback in Tyreek Stevenson. So if you're like, I want to stop the run if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, right? That's why we traded Micah Parsons. You can't stop a nosebleed on defense. Matt Eberflus is your defensive coordinator. When you're coming in three weeks into the season going, yeah, there's going to be some changes to our defensive scheme. Oh, why would that be? So let's get rid of this narrative with Micah Parsons and let's just talk about it what it is. The Cowboys are free falling on their face. The Packers are rising to the occasion right now. And I think we're going to see that come Sunday night.
I agree with you. Wasn't Eberflus, didn't he used to be your head coach?
I don't know who you're talking about. I plead the fifth on that. I was not aware of that man. Eberflus is how I referred to him last year.
All right. Well, so the tee shot on the par 3 17th for McIntyre, and obviously I don't have the sound turned up, but somebody may have talked in his backswing. Now it's a Ryder Cup, so it is what it is. But it's the short hole. He hit into the bunker. It's a fried egg. So I don't even know if on the second shot they can keep it on the green. So now a huge opportunity here for Xander, who's on the tee, second to go. And I always like to go second on a par 3. All right. So TrackMan looks pretty good. And okay, great shot. So we're going to have about 15 to 20 feet for Patrick Cantlay. And Team Europe is in the bunker with a fried egg. All right, that's going to do it for the podcast. We never go longer than 15 to 30 minutes. Do not forget, Off the Ropes today, channel 156, Sirius XM. It is all things pro wrestling with me and Thunder Rosa. Weekday wagers on our YouTube channel, same time. And then me and Mikey, tomorrow morning on demand, we post it. Depending on when producer man gets out of bed, around 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we are live on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Mike, you ready for the weekend?
I'm so ready. I cannot wait. And Coach, all I'm going to say is come NFL Sunday, If my team can pull it off, I may have a crazy bet coming to Monday Night Grind in 2 weeks.
Wow. Quite the tease. A 2.5 week tease. All right. Here we go. All right, that's going to do it for now. Thanks for hanging out with us every single day. You guys are the best. For Mikey P, producer man, I am the coach. We'll see you next time. There's only one Coaching Company, the podcast.